Juno Palindrome here. We have a pick a card reading for you today with messages that you need to hear right now. So these are messages from the universe, from spirit, from whatever you want to think, from your subconscious. And they're messages that are here to help you right here in this moment. So in a minute I'm going to have you choose which pile. We have 3 different piles to choose from. But before I do, I'm going to play a quick nature meditation, and then after that you'll have the card selection. Down in the comments there will be a link for which pile to choose from. Before I break into the nature meditation though, I'd just like to let you know that I'm offering private readings now. Please check out my website at junodrome.com. There's a link in the description of this video. And I would absolutely love to do a private reading for you. I have a couple of different options, so check that out. And a big thanks to all of my subscribers so far. I am so thankful to have you watching my videos. If you like what you see, please subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. So yeah, thanks. And without further ado, here's your nature meditation. Hi, pile number 1. You chose King Lear. Today we're doing all plays, so it's pretty fun. So we'll get to the book at the end. I'm going to be doing a randomly generated poem from the book, but first we're going to do your reading. For your rune, you got Tiwaz, which is the North Star rune. It talks about oaths, being loyal, and it also talks about following your personal North Star, following your inner guidance. For your Shamanic Healing Oracle, we got Slow but Steady, and Omens. For your Rider-Waite Traditional Tarot deck, we have the 6 of Cups, 10 of Cups, King of Swords, the 3 of Pentacles, and the 3 of Swords. And for my hand-drawn deck, we have 7 of Wands, Temperance, the High Priestess, Five of Wands, and the Page of Swords. So, I'm going to dive right into this reading. I think it's really interesting. we've got some interesting things going on here, because the cards seem to be pointing to where you are now and where you can move to, and how to get from one place to the other. So right now it looks like you've gone through some difficult periods. We have the Three of Swords here, and that's kind of the heartbreak card, but it can also mean feeling emotionally hurt, feeling distraught in certain ways, and having a difficult time in your heart space. And I think that is coming from a difficult situation with others. And the reason I'm thinking that is that we have the Five of Wands here, which in the Rider-Waite deck is depicted as 5 different people battling each other in a stalemate. They're all kind of fighting against one another, and neither one of them is flowing. So that can either mean that you have a struggle with other people going on, or potentially, which I was just thinking, it could be that you're struggling with yourself. So you're locked up within in this kind of personal battle, right? And actually, I think that's kind of what this is, because you also have a lot of swords energy. There's a couple of swords cards here, and the swords are all about the mental body, our thoughts. So potentially this is with other people, and potentially this is with yourself, but either way, you're kind of in a stalemate situation, in kind of a fighting situation, either, like I said, with yourself or with other people. And that is something that you can break out of. And I think that you're going to. Because we have here, as I think your ultimate outcome card, we've got the Ten of Cups here, which is ultimate emotional abundance, joy, being in a place of perfect contentment, happiness in your life and in your situation, and happy with yourself. So that's what you have to look forward to if you follow some of the advice that's here. So I think in order to break out of this mental space that you're in, to break out of the heartbreak situation, you have to start doing a few things. The major, biggest, most important thing that you can do to work out of this energy or out of this situation is to listen to yourself, to follow your intuition. So we have the High Priestess here, and she is all about knowing your inner guidance system, right? We had the North Star here, your guidance, follow your heart, basically. Follow your own inner system. And that is going to get you out of this situation. I think that you're in a struggle, but I think that you can come out of it if you take the time to figure out, A, what's going on, and B, what you need from the situation. Taking yourself out of a situation and figuring things out. So you have both the Page of Swords and you have the King of Swords. So the pages are the very first of the royal cards, and they talk about the beginning of the journey within that suit. And the swords, like I was saying before, are all about the mental journey. It's all about learning how to control your thoughts, and not in like a manipulative kind of a way, but in a way where those negative thoughts that are coming into your mind, learning how to navigate your internal landscape so that you can calm yourself and you can come to a place of grounding stability. So the pages, like I said, are all about being at the beginning of that journey. But the kings are the culmination of that journey. The kings are where you can go. The kings are like being at the complete culmination of whatever suit it is. And so for here, the King of Swords knows how to ground himself. He knows how to calm his thoughts and his emotions, and is a very even-tempered, even-keeled person. And so you're being asked to start this journey, and it's a journey that you can go and become the King of Swords very easily. Well, it might take effort, but it is something that you can do. We have the Three of Pentacles here, which are three people coming together to build a cathedral. A lot of times it can mean working together, and maybe it's asking you to work with others, but I think in this particular situation, it's asking you to put in work. And that the work that you put in, the work that you do on yourself, will have results. These people, they're building a cathedral, and cathedrals take hundreds of years, but at the end, they're these incredible, massive, beautiful works of art, basically, that are shared between so many people. So the work that you put in will not be for nothing. Like, build the cathedral of yourself, right? I like that. And that's totally something that you can achieve. We have the Six of Cups here, which talk about happy memories, remembering things of the past. So potentially there were situations in your past that you can think back to and remember that could potentially be helpful in whatever situation you're in right now. So maybe things are really difficult right now, and it's possible that you've kind of lost hope in a lot of situations in your life. You feel like you're at a dead end, potentially. You feel very stuck. But this card is saying to remember that this is not the end-all, be-all of your life. This has not been the case always in your life, and it's asking you to remember that you have potentially been in hard situations before, and that you have come out on the other side of those situations. So it's asking you to remember that you are totally and completely capable of moving past whatever it is that you're in right now. So like I was saying, you had the Five of Swords here, which is everybody is fighting each other. But then you have the Seven, of Wands, the Five of Wands, and then you have the Seven of Wands, which is a man who is victorious out of the battle. He has fought and won the battle and has come out on the other side victorious. So whereas one you have strife, the other you have victory. So you can work through the situation, but it's going to take you going on the journey of the sword suit and taking up an understanding of your mental body, of your mental plane, and working with that, learning how it operates, learning how it works, and learning how to ground yourself and to calm yourself, calm your emotions, and focus on the thoughts that are going through your mind. So the Healing Oracle cards I'm going to read right now, the first one we'll read is the Omens card, which is really hearkening back to me of this internal guidance and the High Priestess. But this card is all about seeing signs and following them. So I'm going to read that to you from the book because the description is really good. Hold it up so you can see it. Hawks are messengers. This majestic bird flies high and reaches the realms of the spirit. They bring back messages from both seen and unseen. Drawing this card speaks of focus and intuition. Pay attention to the coincidences in your life right now. Focus on where you want to go. How high do you want to fly? When you see a hawk, someone is trying to get your attention. Pay attention to the serendipity in your life. Be glad, for this is a reminder that you are living in the flow of energy. Things will soon shift for you. So there we go. You being asked to follow your intuition with the High Priestess here and this Omen cards. Trust your gut. Trust the thoughts in the deep spaces of your being over some of these other things that are coming into your mind. Hawks and birds in general, the bird imagery, they talk about flying above and seeing from a higher perspective. So it's very easy to get caught up in drama and to get caught up in our daily struggles, either with people or with ourselves. And we get caught in the story that we are being told or we are telling ourselves. We get caught in these loops. And the birds are reminding you that that is possible to step back and to take a larger perspective. So to stop seeing things from a magnified point where you can't really see everything that's going on, you can only focus on one minute thing at a time, and to take a step back and to start opening your perspective to something much bigger. To see, instead of, being stuck on the ground and only being able to see, a few people around you, the hawk takes off and flies and can see the entire village below. So you can see the inner workings of everything that's going around. This perspective shift, I think, can really help you with your situation. Remember that the things that you're caught up in this moment are not all of the things that are there. That life is much larger than whatever situation you happen to be stuck in right now, and that your life is much larger than that. That the grand scheme of being alive in the world in today, in any moment, is much, much, much bigger and larger than any particular situation you might happen to be stuck in at this moment. The other card that we have is the Slow but Steady card. And so this is asking you to remember that things don't happen all at once, and that you have to take your time and you have to be gentle and kind with yourself when things move slowly. Patience is an incredibly difficult thing to culminate, and I speak from experience in that. But it's very, very rewarding, and when you can learn it, it really, really, really helps, because nothing can be healed in an instant, nothing can be fixed in an instant, but it can be healed and fixed, and persistence and patience will get you there. I'm going to read Slow but Steady from the book now. Don't rush the situation. More often than not, divine timing and our timing are not the same. When you try to speed up a life experience, a relationship, or even a project, you circumvent necessary experiences or lessons along the way that will contribute to a perfect outcome. Know that wherever you are in this situation, it's the perfect place for you to be. If this place is causing you anxiety, perfect. Now you can look within and ask yourself why. What are your fears surrounding this perceived delay in getting to where you want to go? What is the best that can happen? What if we remove the words best and worst and just let things unfold at their own pace without attaching judgment? Right? And the final card here that you have is the Temperance card. And the Temperance card is all about balance. It's depicted as an angel who is pouring between two cups her elixir, mixing two things together and transforming it into something else. So it talks a lot about leaving the duality, like the cards were just saying, of trying to look at things beyond just good and bad, best and worst, black and white. Trying to move beyond the dualistic thinking into seeing things from a larger perspective and a balanced perspective. So remember that a coin may have heads and tails, but they're both two sides to the same coin, and you can't have just one side of the coin. It has to have a heads and a tails. What goes up must come down, right? There's that cyclical balance. You have to have both forces. And so, it's kind of asking you to try to see things from that perspective where, things aren't necessarily good or bad. There are things. and that we have the opportunity of learning from any situation that occurs to us. And it's not up to us to, like, we have zero control over the things in our lives that happen to us a lot of the times. I can't do anything about what you would do to me, for instance, or could do to me. But I do have control over how I react to that and what I let get me. What I let, I mean, things can hurt us. And we don't necessarily have control over that, but we do have control over our reactions, and we do have control over our healing. So I can remove myself from a situation. I can have boundaries with the people in my life who are causing me trouble and problems. I can move away from a situation that's filled with drama instead of reacting to the situation, instead of feeling it necessary to fight back, instead of thinking that I have to be reactive in any way. I can take it, I can take what happens, and then I can process my emotions, and I can transmute them, and I can let it go, and I can move away. And that's something that you can do. I didn't mean to just put it in the first perspective there, but you get what I mean. So I think that whatever difficult situation that you happen to be in right now, remember that you can move out of it, that you have the power and control over your life. You have agency over your life. Your life is yours. Your life, your rules, right? And if something's happening in your life that isn't working out for you, if people in your life are causing you an incredible amount of pain, if you're causing yourself a lot of pain, you can have boundaries with those people. You can have boundaries with yourself. If you get caught in a lot of negative thoughts and a lot of negative self-talk, then, start practicing mindfulness. It's the practice of becoming aware of those thoughts. Start to see it when it happens, and start to call yourself out, Like, be kind and gentle to yourself. Don't hurt yourself, because hard and harsh words to ourselves only hurt ourselves. It only perpetuates things. It only keeps things bad. But being kind and gentle and understanding and patient with yourself, that is how you move into this energy of absolute happiness. Become the King of Swords, who is not lacking of emotions. He has emotions. I had a reader describe this to me once that I think is really beautiful. He's wearing these red robes on the inside. You can kind of see that. And those are representing his emotions. So he still has emotions, but he's cloaked them in this outside cloak. He doesn't let those emotions dictate his life. He doesn't get caught in a loop and caught, and towed on a journey through harsh conditions, because he knows how to balance himself on the inside, to come to a place of grounded calmness, and to move forward and make decisions from that place. So that's your reading. Those are your cards. That's a good reading. I like that. I hope that resonated with you. Now we're going to do the poem. So in a moment here, I'm going to roll a bunch of dice, generate 7 words, and then we'll rearrange it into a poem that fits your situation. So one moment. Seeds. He. Whole. Rob. His. Says. Of. Okay, I'm going to rearrange. Oh, so the words were seeds, he, whole, rob, his, says, of. I'm going to rearrange these into a poem now. Okay, so this is what I got. He says his seeds rob of whole. So whole with a W, the whole of something. So he says his seeds rob of whole. So it's like seeds grow into something. So the seeds that you plant become something. And so he says that his seeds rob of the whole. So it's like the beginnings of something are lacking the whole, are taking away from the whole thing. That's what he's saying, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's happening, right? Just because he says that that's what's happening doesn't mean that that's true. So he needs to change his perspective in order to be able to complete something, in order to make what he wants happen. You can't have what you want without making it happen, right? You have to plant the seeds, and then those seeds will grow into the whole picture. But in order for that to happen, you have to plant the seeds, and he needs to change his mind in order to make that happen. So he needs to shift his perspective so that he realizes that planting things will make them work, not that they won't happen anyway, right? So I'm guessing for your situation, to me, it's saying to switch the way that you're thinking about a situation in order to move into something else. You can't have this happy period of peace and comfort and joy unless you build it, unless you plant those seeds to make it happen. And you can do that, 100%. Okay, that's your reading. I hope it resonates. Let me know in the comments if you like it, and yeah, subscribe if you can. I would enjoy that. And then I have private readings available if you'd like to book one. I have multiple price points and options, so check out my website, junodrome.com. I have a link to that in the description. I would love it if you check out my website anyway. Let me know what you think. It's new. So yeah, see you later. Hey there, pile number 2. You chose the play Equus. Today is all plays theme, so all of the books for the readings are plays. We'll get to the play in a minute. Basically, at the end of this reading, I'm going to randomly generate a poem from words from this book. But first, we're going to do the reading. You have Burkina here. This is your rune today. And this is the rune of new beginnings. It is literally translates into birch, so referring to birch trees. It has a feminine energy to it, so it's can indicate pregnancy, fertility, or the birth of a new phase of your life. For the Shamanic Healing Oracle, you have honoring your energy and ascension. So as I get into the reading, I'm going to read from the book of these two cards because I really, really love the language in this book, and it's always nice to have another perspective in the reading to give you even more depth. So, for the Rider-Waite traditional tarot deck, you have the 7 of Pentacles, the Lovers, the Moon, Two of Swords, Five of Pentacles. And for the classic, not classic, sorry, for my hand-drawn tarot deck, we've got Strength, Six of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the King of Pentacles. So, let's jump into your reading. It looks like you're moving into some really nice things. So, you know, this birth of a new phase of your life is indicating a change, right, into something really positive. But I think that you've been coming out of some challenging times. And so the reason I'm thinking that is because we have the Five of Pentacles here, and this card tends to indicate like a dark night of the soul kind of a period. Coming from a situation that's really difficult, really challenging, leaving you feel destitute, right? There's these poverty-stricken people who are stuck outside of this church, but based on the church cathedral window that's behind them, this period is a spiritually based period, right? You go through a difficult situation and you gain insight from it. So I think that it's potential that you were in a situation like that, and you have the Two of Swords here, which can indicate a stalemate. It can talk about like having difficult making a decision, but I'm feeling for this situation, whatever has happened, whatever has occurred, the dark periods of your life that you have just been in has left you feeling stuck. But, like I said, ultimately I think that you're moving out of it into something really nice. We have the Moon here, which talks about two things. It talks about your intuition and that kind of ability, but it also talks about feeling in the dark. Not quite seeing everything that's happening. When you're walking the path by moonlight, you can see a little bit. You can see enough to not trip and hurt yourself potentially, but you still don't know where you're going. It's still dark and hazy. You don't quite understand what's happening. And so I don't know if you know how to move out of where you are or what's happening, but we have the Wheel of Fortune. Which can indicate many things. I tend to take very, very positive meanings from it. Your fortune coming in, right? But it's a wheel, right? The wheels turn. And, oh gosh, what is that song? The wheel in the sky keeps on turning. That's been playing in my head today. But that is kind of exactly the situation, right? So, life brings us many things, and it continuously moves. So, the situations that you're in, that you were in the past, don't have to be the situations that you're moving into. Life is constantly and continuously in motion, and constantly and continuously changing around us. And so, the difficult and dark things that we go through, as challenging as they are, regardless of what that situation is, it will move into something else. That is the nature of life and reality. Change is constant, no matter what, and you can take solace in that. In that change, right? We've got the Six of Pentacles, which asks, it talks about help. It's a person with carrying scales and is giving to poor people. So it can talk about either giving help or receiving help. And I think for this card in this situation, it's saying, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you feel stuck, if you feel like you're in a difficult place, there's help around you. There are people around you who can help you. And in fact, asking for help is a surefire way to find answers, right? We can never find, we can't answer questions. We can't find answers to questions if we don't ask those questions, right? And so, if you feel stuck, look around you. Maybe there's people who can help give you some guidance. You have the Lovers here, which can indicate either you're finding love, or you have love in your life already. And either way, if love is coming in, that's a person who can help you through hard and challenging times. Or if you already have a love in your life, ask for help. Lean on them a little bit. They're there for you. You have that support in your life. We have the Seven of Pentacles here, and this card talks about somebody who's put a lot of work into something. He is standing, waiting for the harvest to come in. It's not harvest season yet. He's not able to pick these, receive the fruits of his labor quite yet, but he has already put in a lot of work. So you've put a ton of work into changing your circumstances already. And that work is going to pay off. And you might not see the results right now, but that doesn't mean that it's not coming. That doesn't mean that the energy that you put into trying to make something happen isn't going anywhere. It's leading to something. The work that you put in will reap something in some capacity. We have the King of Pentacles here, who is the ultimate in abundance. The kings talk about the culmination of the suit. They are the final card and the final royal card. So they're the ultimate outcome of that suit. And so you're the ultimate outcome of abundance and material abundance, health, physical abundance around you. And what that means is that that's kind of what you can move into. That's what you're going to. And so, you put in the work here with the Seven of Pentacles, and you're waiting for that harvest. But this card, the King of Pentacles, is telling you that harvest is coming. The work that you have put in is leading to something. Because we also, like I said before, have the Wheel of Fortune. You have strength here, which it kind of speaks for itself. It's asking you to be strong in your situation. So, he, in this deck that I've drawn, is a pretty chiseled dude, right? He's like the, what do you call him? Gladiator? He's a gladiator. So he's entered into these feats, these challenges, and these trials and tribulations. And he leaves victorious every time, right? The gladiators fight to the death or something like that. I don't know. But he survives. He continues to survive, and he will continue to survive because he is strong. And I think you're stronger than you give yourself credit for. We all tend to do that sometimes, but make sure that you're giving yourself the credit that you are due, right? You are a strong person, and you can get through things. We have the Knight of Cups. The Knights are movement within the suit. They are the royal card that is the journey that you're going on within that suit. And so, since it's the cups, it's talking about emotional fulfillment, joys, loves, like that kind of thing. And so you're moving through that, right? And so in the Rider-Waite deck, it's depicted as a man on the horse who is at a standstill. He's not moving, but he's holding up his cup. And so to me, that kind of talks about being patient, being able to wait for results, right? So you might not see the results yet. Like we said here, it's the same as the Seven of Pentacles. You might not see it yet, but that doesn't mean it's not coming. And that doesn't mean that the actions that you've been taking aren't leading to something. They definitely are. So even if you feel stuck right now, you feel like you are at a stalemate, at a standstill, you can move through that. You might not be able to see clearly how that's going to happen, and I don't think that maybe you need to. Maybe you don't need to see exactly how it's happening, but it is going to happen. I'm going to read these 2 cards from the book because they're pretty helpful. We have Honoring Your Energy. So let's read that. That talks about making sure to have healthy boundaries, making sure that you aren't giving all of your energy away, and making sure that you are listening to yourself, listening to what you need, resting when you need to, acting when you need to. We all have those days when we are disinclined to do anything. We try all sorts of mental tricks to talk ourselves into doing what we think we should be doing. Does this ever work? No. We end up feeling guilty, a very low vibration, for not getting anything done, which causes us to try twice as hard the next day, which causes us to get overwhelmed and exhausted, which then leads to becoming caught up in a vicious cycle. Your body has rhythms just as everything else on this earth does. Flowers, trees, plants, and the elements. The tides ebb and flow, the sun and moon rise and set, animals hibernate, and flowers grow, bloom, and go dormant. You need to listen to the inherent cycles within you. Rest when you need to. Work when you need to. Do not try to outthink the natural rhythms. Go easy on yourself and reserve judgment. You are your own harshest critic. Right? Didn't I talk about that? I did when I was in the strength card. I was saying, you're stronger than you give yourself credit for. You're your harshest critic. Don't put yourself down. You might have gone through hard things, but that doesn't make you broken, and that doesn't make you weak, and that doesn't make you incapable. If anything, it's the complete opposite. You have been through difficult and hard times, and you have had the strength to make it through that and come to the other side. And it might not feel quite like you're on the other side yet, but you have to have patience. I went through some incredibly difficult struggles within myself not that long ago, very, very recently. Relatively. It was back in I would say back in November of last year, November 2019, I was at the lowest point, I think, of my entire life. And it was bad. You talk about dark night of the soul. I mean, I think that's about as low as I have ever been, and it was hard. And climbing out of that is difficult, but it's possible, and it comes with slowing down, right? I had a lot of really ambitious things I was trying to accomplish, and the harder and harder I pushed myself, the more and more I was procrastinating. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't create. I'm an artist. I couldn't make. I just couldn't. And I had very particular expectations about what it is I was trying to do. And the harder and harder I pushed myself into that box, the more I totally and completely shut down. And I had to just put up my hands and stop and be like, okay, I can't do that right now. And this Honoring Your Energy card is talking about, it's like that was my winter phase, right? We have seasons just as the earth has seasons. And if we're trying to make something happen, but it's winter time, you can't get your flower to grow in the middle of winter. It's just not going to happen. You have to honor the fact that you're in winter and slow down. But like I said, you're at a new beginning, right? You didn't get the winter rune. There is a winter rune, Isa, which means ice, and that's like being completely frozen, completely at a standstill, and throwing up your hands. That was the rune that I got and was working with back in November. But now, the complete opposite is the case, right? And it feels, in hindsight, like it happened in an instant. Those months just went by like nothing. And it's almost a year ago now, but it doesn't feel like a year, right? A year is actually not quite as long as we can make it out to be in our mind, right? So, now I'm finally able to create again. I have had so many major breakthroughs in my personal life and in my mental sphere and everything. And now I'm finally at the point where I'm making again. And it took me honoring my energy, right? It took me listening to myself and learning how to love myself and learning how to guide myself and following what I needed. And if one thing didn't work, then I had to let it go. There's a saying that really resonates with me a lot, and it's like, whatever's meant to be in your life will find you. The things that are meant for you will find you. And sometimes when we try to force things, when we feel like we have to push things and make things happen, that's when they don't happen because we're forcing it and it's not happening naturally. And so, with that thing in mind, that whatever is meant for you will happen, will come to you, then we have to release the things that aren't working and see if they come back. And if they come back to us, then great, they were meant to be in our life. But if they don't, then that's the case. And then we are more open for something that really will be good for us, that will really fit in our lives, that will work for us and really make things amazing. So yeah, I went off on a whole tangent there. I hope that resonates with you. Let's read the Ascension card. That's the other one here. Some of those following a spiritual path have ascension as the ultimate goal. However, ascension, portrayed in art and literature, is a great leap into instant nirvana, is actually a giant work of, art and fiction. Rather, ascension is the process of conscious living. We are all spiritual beings. We are all souls in a human body who are living life on this earth in order to learn and to grow at the soul's level. That is being spiritual. Whether you are conscious of it or not, you are walking towards ascension. Each experience, relationship, obstacle, joy, and creation will bring you one step closer on the ladder to where we all end, with a greater awareness of ourselves than we had starting out with. This situation, at its best, is a rung on the ladder of your soul's path towards ascension. The situation you are inquiring about is assisting you on this ladder. Work at the bigger picture and know you are bigger than any issues or problems you may have. So that's exactly what I was saying with the Five of Pentacles here. So oftentimes these challenging situations that happen in our lives, we have the ability to take those challenges and to change our perspective and see them as lessons. See what we have gained from them. Every experience that comes into your life, whether they're hard, whether they're harmful, or whether they're easy, whether they're joyful, whatever comes into your life is a lesson for you. And those lessons are building you. That is the journey that we are all on this planet in this lifetime, is learning. And the things that you've been through, even if they're incredibly difficult and hard, they are building you up. This is strength here. You are learning your own strength. You are learning your tenacity. You are learning that, and that is going to play so deeply into how you move forward with your life. You are leaving whatever situation you went through as a changed being. You are not the same now in really deep positive ways, because you are stronger. You know what you are capable of withholding. You know what you can survive. And you can survive a lot, and it's great. So yeah, like I said, you are becoming the King of Pentacles. You are going to enter into a period of abundance, and you are turning the wheel of fortune towards fortune. Yeah. Oh, there was something that popped into my head. Fortune favors the bold, right? So don't be afraid to be bold in your life and to take bold actions. Not brash, mind you, bold. Know your strength. I think that's your reading. We're going to do the poem now here, and I'm going to roll a bunch of dice, generate some words, and then we're going to make a poem out of it. So, one moment. Such, but, I, he, only, light, hallow. Okay, so such, but, I, he, only, light, hallow. I'm going to rearrange those into a poem that fits your situation. I light such, but he only hallow. And the hallow, I think, was like hello, but it's like a accent, hallow. So I light such, but he only hallow. So like, I light things the way that I do, but he only says hello. So I'm trying to do something, but he only accepts it so far. So maybe, yeah, you know, maybe you're in a situation with someone that you feel like you're trying really hard and it's only going so far. Which, you know, maybe that's kind of like asking you to think about the nature of the relationships you're in, potentially. Maybe that's a clue for how to leave this stalemate of potentially trying too hard, right? You got honor your energy. So yeah, that's what this is tying to. Totally. That sense of trying to force yourself or force something to happen that isn't happening because it's not the right time. It's not the right season. To have patience with yourself, and to not overwork yourself, not over try. If things aren't fitting this moment, then let it be and try to let things happen later, right? Anyway, that's what I got for you. I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments what you think either way. Feel free to subscribe if you do. I'd love it. It helps me out. And if you are interested at all in a private reading, I have a couple of different options at different price points. So please check out my website at junodrome.com. There's a link to it in the description box. And yeah, that's it for me. See you later. Thanks. Hey, pile number 3. You chose the play You Can't Take It With You. We're doing all plays today, so it's fun. We'll get to this in a minute. Basically, at the end of the reading, I'm going to use some dice to randomly generate words from this book, and then we'll rearrange them into a poem to fit the reading. But first, let's do the cards. Your rune today is Algiz, which is a rune of protection. It's like a protection sign, and it's also refers to health and healing. If I flip this upside down and we were to draw a circle around it, it means peace, because that's the peace sign. So that's the peace sign comes from this rune, and that is also some meaning tied into it as well. Peace, health, well-being. It can also indicate coming into a new time of those things. For the Shamanic Healing Oracle cards, you have Retreat and Unlimited Possibilities. So I will read from these at some point during the reading from the book because I think the descriptions in the Shamanic Healing Oracle are really, really wonderful. But first we'll do the cards. For the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck, we have the Hanged Man, Judgment, the Page of Cups, Death, and Temperance. And for your hand-drawn tarot deck I made myself, we have the Three of Pentacles, the Hierophant, the Five of Pentacles, the Three of Swords, and the Ace of Wands. Okay, let's start in on this reading. It looks like you are going through or about to go through a period of significant change in your life, and that is the Death card in a nutshell, but you have the Death and the Judgment card here. So, the Death card, sounds scary, it's not. There's two major change cards in the tarot deck. You have the Death card and you have the Tower card. The Tower card tends to be dramatic, sometimes cataclysmic events happening in your life that radically change based on external circumstances. They're like the things that come at you out of nowhere. Like, and then all of a sudden, you know, something happened and everything changed in my world. Death is more of an internal transformation, a change in consciousness. It's a blossoming into a new way of perceiving, of viewing the world, and living your life in a new way based on new changes inside. And I'm not sure if you're there yet. I think so. We have the Hanged Man here. He is hanging upside down, as you can see, and is stuck. It can indicate being at a standstill, but he's done it out of his own volition. He hung himself up on this tree to gain knowledge, very much the tale of Odin, who hung himself from the Yggdrasil, the world tree, in order to gain knowledge and to journey through the different realms, right? So he's done this, hanging himself up in order to gain insight. So you're stuck, but that doesn't mean that that's the end-all be-all. It means that there's some greater purpose to being stuck. And you have the Judgment card here. So Judgment comes to us when it can indicate a lot of rebirth too, but this rebirth comes from viewing the circumstances that have led us to where we are in life and culminating a conclusion based on lessons that we've learned. It's the action of turning experience into wisdom. So looking back on the events of our life and situations that have led up to where we are and gaining bigger picture and bigger insight from that, and using that to transform our circumstances and our consciousness. So yeah, like the Death card here. You have the Three of Swords card, which indicates like sorrow, heartbreak, being in a difficult time, in a difficult position. And I think that this is the energy that you were in. Maybe you're still in it, but I think it's the energy that you're coming out of. I think that this is the before of your transformation, and then we have the Three of Pentacles here, I think these cards are mirroring one another. The Three of Pentacles are three people who are coming together to build a cathedral. You have the architect and two people who are planning it, and all three of them together are making this happen. So this can indicate working together as a group with other people, and it can indicate building something long-lasting. So I think you're moving from being in a sorrow energy with others into a happy time with others, into a working together to build something bigger than yourself kind of a thing with others. And that's coming to you on the other end of this transformation after you go through your circumstances and understand what's happened in your past. Allow yourself to feel your emotions, to release any pain or trauma that you might be holding on to free yourself from that. Like I was saying too, this is a rune of health and protection and of healing. So, it's available to use if you believe in any of that kind of thing. But like it's talking about that, like, embracing the healing change in your life that's coming to you, and really embrace the change inside as growth, as learning lessons to grow into something new. We have the Ace of Wands here. Aces are the beginning of a journey. They're the very start of something. And coming in as your new beginning, the Wands are all about manifestation. They're all about making something happen. They're the passion, the drive in our life. They could be creativity, creative projects potentially. And with the Three of Pentacles here, working on something larger than oneself, building something together with others for the future. You're entering into that kind of period. We have the Hierophant here, which can have multiple different meanings. Before I move into the future, one more card from the past. We have the Five of Pentacles here, which is the card that indicates like a dark night of the soul period. So really, this together with the Three of Swords, I think you went through something really challenging and difficult. And you might still be in it, but you're coming out of it. This card on the Rider-Waite deck is depicted with it's like outside of a church in the snow, two poor people who are destitute are in a very difficult situation in a difficult period. But the thing about a Dark Night of the Soul period is, and all of this entire reading is so resonant with pile number 2. So if you felt at all drawn to pile number 2, these are almost the same reading. You might have further messages for that, so check that one out if you want. Like I was saying in pile number 2, the same thing with this Dark Night of the Soul period. It is oftentimes, it's talking about, because it's depicted with the church, right? Like there's that spiritual element there. So these dark periods in our lives have the ability to be transformed into deep insight and wisdom and lessons learned that we can build off of, building these inner strength within us that transforms our future into something completely different that we would have never expected, that we would have never been capable of if we didn't go through these difficult times in order to build us into the person that we need to be. You have the Hierophant here, which it means different things in different contexts. In this one, I'm thinking it talks about being a teacher. It's talking about either finding a teacher or becoming a teacher. So I think for your situation, when you review what you've been through and move into these new periods, you have the potential to give back to others. The lessons that you've learned, the things that you've gained through your struggle, will be applicable to someone else when this is all said and done. And you will have the ability to help others through things. You will have gained knowledge and insight that will be useful to someone else in the future. And then the final card here is Temperance. Temperance is talking about balance. She's mixing two opposite forces together to create something new. So you have the ability to make something new out of your situation. You know, the whole making lemonade out of lemons. And it can be done through slowing down and balancing. You know, this card talks a lot about making sure you're not putting anything in just one area. Make sure that you are allowing yourself to have a healthy balance in your life. And then we also have the Page of Cups. And so pages are new journeys as well. They're the very first of the royal cards, and so they indicate someone who is in training or beginning in that suit. And so you are in the beginning stages of emotional fulfillment. So you are starting a journey that's not only filled with passion and creativity and drive, but also one that's leading you to a sense of well-being, a sense of inner peace with that Algiers rune, that peace sign, and a sense of love, you know, letting love back into your life. We've got these two cards here from the Shamanic Healing Oracle. I'd like to read them for you. The first one is the Retreat card. Let's read that. This is a good time to retreat into your safe place, a quiet time to gather your resources for what's to come. Work on making your body, mind, and soul as strong and unencumbered as possible. This is the card that urges you to get your ducks in a row for the changes that lie ahead. Changes sometimes come fast and furious. Even when they are longed for, it can take us unprepared. By drawing this card, you are advised to prepare for some changes coming your way soon. Alternately, take this time to process the changes that you have recently gone through. Yeah, so there you go, right? Like I was saying, you're going through changes, or you're about to, and this is asking you to slow down and to really honor yourself. The Temperance card is that balance, honoring your own self and your energy, and coming back into yourself, slowing down, meditating if you do that, eating right, not overbooking yourself, not trying to go out and force things to happen, moving from a doing state of mind to a being state of mind. That's what you're being asked to do right now, so that you can prepare for this major changes that are coming into your life. And then the last Shamanic Healing Oracle card is the Unlimited Possibilities. When fall turns into winter, the leaves fall from the trees, birds fly south, plants go dormant, some even die having lived the life they were meant to. Do we ever panic and wallow in the fear that this is it? There will never be another robin singing? There will never be another ripe tomato? No, we don't. Why is that? We know that after winter, spring will return, followed by the bounty of summer. And so it is in your life. At any given time, there are unlimited possibilities for you and yours. Excuse me. Many different paths to take, many different options available. Do not get bogged down into thinking in a linear fashion. Open your eyes and your heart and feel the power your free will and choice brings to you. You make your life what it is meant to be. So yeah, you are in control of your life, first of all. You have the drive. You have the keys to the driver's seat, right? But also, you know, when things end, they end, and you know, the Death card talks about endings too. You know, it's new beginnings for sure, and it's change, but it's ending of something. A cycle of your life has ended. A period is ended. A phase, a relationship, something is done, and that's hard. Endings are incredibly difficult, but like it was saying, like when it's winter and the flower dies, we don't mourn it because we know that more are coming. Well, I'm not saying don't mourn. Feel your emotions. That's incredibly important. If you need to mourn, do it. Like, really do it. But then release it. Let it go and let yourself move into the future. Let yourself move into those new possibilities. Because you have unlimited possibilities. Anything can happen. Your future is open. Your future is a blank book waiting for you to write and draw in. So don't feel like you are tied to anything that's come before. Take the lessons that you've learned from your life and turn them into wisdom. Transform them into higher learning. And that will help you along in your journey. And like the retreat card was saying, this is probably a period of time for you to do that. This is a time for you to step back and to do that processing. Like the judgment card of reviewing what's happened in your life, really give it your all attention. Give everything that you possibly can to processing that. And that will open things up for you and move you into new places. And the places that you need to go. So we're going to do the book now. I'm going to roll some dice and generate some words, and then that will give you further insight into this reading. So just a moment. Afraid. The. Grandpa. Don't. He. She. Every. Okay, so your words were afraid, the, grandpa, don't, he, she, and every. Give me 1 minute and I'm going to rearrange those into something that'll work. Okay, this is what I got. In quotes, he, she, don't. Every afraid grandpa. So every afraid grandpa has said he, she, don't. So I guess what I am guessing that to mean is like the grandpa who is afraid is saying that they're not getting along, I guess. How does this fit in? I'm being drawn to this temperance card here, right? It's a balance of opposites and forces to bring something into the future. So, afraid grandpa. Okay, the other meaning for the Hierophant, it talks about tradition, following the bounds of tradition, and being stuck by the bounds of tradition. So, coming with every afraid grandpa here is kind of quintessentially like older generations not understanding something and being afraid of it and not wanting it to move forward. So a lot of times we can get stuck with our societal conditioning, with the things we think we're supposed to be doing based on what we've learned, the people around us in childhood, and society at large. So don't be afraid. Don't hold yourself back to the afraid grandpa, basically. That's the last bit of wisdom from this reading. Try to look when you do this judgment, when you do this looking at things that have led up to where you are right now. Try to look and see how societal conditioning has led to you feeling stuck, and try to see what ways you can move yourself out of that. Just because things are the way that they are because they're supposed to be, because people tell us they're supposed to be, doesn't mean that that's how you have to run your life. I said this in another reading, but I have to remind myself this all the time. your life, your rules. Like, you are living your own independent life, your own existence, and it's your rules, right? If you don't want to do something, you don't have to. End of story. Like, it's your life. Do what you need. I'm like a firm believer in personal freedoms. Yeah, that's your reading. If you like it, well, regardless, just let me know what you think down in the comments. If you want to subscribe, I would love you forever. I love you anyway, but I would love it if you could subscribe if you wanted to. And I am doing personal readings now, so if you'd like one, I have some different options at different price points on my website. Check out junodrome.com. I've got a link in the description of this video. So, yeah, thanks again. See you later. Stick around for the whole poem from this session if you want in just a few seconds. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining me on this tarot journey. We've got some poems for you from this session. Eventually I'm going to do like a anthology video with a bunch of them. We'll do like a whole poetry reading. I don't know if I'm quite there yet, but eventually we'll do that. I think that would be a lot of fun, so bear with me on that. He says his seeds rob of whole. I light such, but he only hello. He, she, don't. Every afraid grandpa. There's kind of a little story there. That's great. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Have a great one. See you later. Juno out.